You step outside one morning and stop in your tracks. There in your lawn is a perfect ring of mushrooms, a neat circle in the grass that was not there yesterday. It looks strange, almost magical, as if by a spell. And for centuries, people believed that it truly was. They called it a fairy ring and told uneasy tales about it. They said fairies danced there, and you must never step inside. But the truth behind that circle is stranger than any fairy tale. It is one single living thing, older and more patient than you'd guess. And it draws that ring for a remarkable reason. Today, you'll finally learn what that mysterious circle really means, and you'll never see it as something to fear again. Welcome back to What the Garden Knows, where your yard has been speaking and we finally learned to listen. Let's begin with exactly what you are looking at. A fairy ring is a circle, or sometimes an arc, of mushrooms in the grass. It can be small enough to step over or wide enough to cross your lawn. Often it appears almost overnight, especially after a soaking rain. One day the grass is bare, and the next, a ring of mushrooms stands there. Sometimes, even with no mushrooms at all, you can still see the ring, because the grass itself may grow in a circle of a different color. You might see a band of darker, greener grass curving across your lawn, or a ring of dry, brown, struggling grass instead. Either way, the circle is unmistakable. These strange circles have amazed and unsettled people for a long time. Across the world, old stories were told to explain them. In some lands, they were the dancing floors of fairies and elves. In others, the marks of dragons, witches, or spirits. People warned that to step inside was to invite bad luck. It was a circle of pure mystery, right in the middle of ordinary life. But the truth is stranger than the story. That ring is not the work of any fairy or spirit. It is the quiet work of a single living thing hidden beneath your feet. If a ring like this has appeared in your lawn, tell me in the comments. And consider subscribing, because the truth behind it is remarkable. Here is the first secret, and it changes everything about that ring. Those mushrooms are not separate little plants at all. Every one of them is part of a single living organism. To understand this, we have to look beneath the grass. Under your lawn lies a hidden web of fine, thread-like fibers spreading all through the soil. This vast underground web is the real body of a fungus. The mushrooms standing above the grass are only a small part of it, its fruits, much like apples on a tree. The great body of the fungus itself stays hidden below. When the weather turns warm and wet, it pushes those mushrooms into the air. Their only job is to release tiny spores and make new fungi elsewhere. Then they quickly wither away, while the real fungus lives quietly on. The whole ring is not a crowd of separate plants. It is the fruit of one single fungus, growing in a circle. Once you see that, the mystery begins to unfold. The second secret answers the question everyone asks: why would a fungus grow in such a perfect circle? The answer is beautifully simple. It begins with a tiny spore landing in just one spot. From that point, the fungus slowly grows outward evenly in every direction. Think of the gentle ripples that spread when you drop a stone into a pond. The fungus spreads through the soil in that same way, reaching out in an ever-widening circle, feeding as it goes. But here is the clever part that creates the ring. The oldest fungus in the center slowly runs out of food and dies. Meanwhile, the youngest and hungriest fungus is always at the very edge, pushing outward into fresh soil. So the living fungus is shaped like a ring, expanding underneath the grass. It is right at that active growing edge that all the mushrooms appear. That is exactly why they stand in a circle and never fill in the middle. The ring of mushrooms simply marks the outer edge of a hidden, growing life. If this hidden world beneath your lawn is amazing you, take a quick moment and tap that like button. It helps these quiet garden mysteries reach more curious people. The third secret is perhaps the most astonishing. That slow widening circle can grow to be very old indeed. Because the ring only grows outward, the wider the ring, the older the fungus. Even a small ring may already be many years old. But the largest fairy rings stretch for hundreds of feet across the land. To grow that wide, they must be hundreds of years old. A few are thought to be many centuries old, quietly placing them among the oldest living things in the world. One famous ring in France is thought to be around 700 years old. Just imagine, that quiet little circle may have begun long before you were ever born. It has been spreading outward, silent and patient, year after year. A slow, ancient ring drawn quietly upon the earth, and most people walk right past it. So it is one creature growing in a ring for many centuries. But that ring also carries a clear message about your soil, which explains that strange band of colored grass. The fourth secret explains why the grass itself often changes color. That change is a direct clue to what the fungus is doing. As the fungus grows, it breaks down old material in the soil, feeding on dead roots, buried wood, and rotting matter. As it feeds, it releases fresh nutrients back into the ground. One is nitrogen, which makes green grass grow lush and thick. Along the fungus's edge, the grass is given a hidden feeding, growing taller, thicker, and deeper green. But sometimes you see the exact opposite, a ring of dead brown grass. In some cases, the dense fungal threads stop rainwater from soaking down to the roots. The soil becomes almost waterproof, and the grass goes thirsty. So the ring of color, green or brown, is really a map showing exactly where the fungus is quietly working. The fifth secret is what this means for your lawn. The good news is that a fairy ring is mostly quite harmless. It will not ruin your lawn or spread terrible disease. In fact, it is usually a welcome sign of rich, healthy soil, meaning the ground is full of the old material fungi love to eat. Your lawn will recover, so there is no need to panic. But there is one very important warning. Never, ever eat the mushrooms that grow in a fairy ring. While a few are harmless, many others are highly poisonous and difficult to identify safely. Admire the ring with your eyes, but never with your mouth. If you have young children or pets, pick the mushrooms and throw them safely away. The fungus itself lives deep down out of reach, but since it does so little harm, the easiest thing is to let it be. The sixth secret is the quiet gift the fairy ring reveals. That ring is really a window into a hidden living world. Beneath every healthy lawn lies a vast unseen web of fungi quietly doing one of the most important jobs in nature. They are the great recyclers of the living world. They take dead leaves, roots, and wood and break them down into rich, dark soil, turning death patiently back into fresh new life. Without them, the world would soon be buried in dead matter. Every forest and meadow depends on this endless work. These humble fungi feed your plants and keep your garden truly alive. A fairy ring is simply that hidden work made beautifully visible. It is a clear sign that your garden's hidden engine is running well, gently showing you the living, beating heart of the soil. We've now uncovered 6 secrets hidden in that mysterious circle. But the final secret is the most wonderful truth of all, far more magical than any fairy tale. Here is the 7th and most beautiful secret. For centuries, people gazed at these circles in pure wonder, filling the mystery with fairies, spirits, and spells. It is easy to see why they reached for such magic. But the real truth is stranger and lovelier. Beneath your feet lives a single, ancient, endlessly patient being. It has no eyes, no voice, and no thoughts as we know them. Yet, in complete silence, it draws a perfect circle upon the earth. It spreads ever so slowly outward, year after year, taking what has died and quietly turning it back into new life. It may have been doing so for far longer than you have been alive. The real magic was in the living soil all along. So the next time you find that circle standing in your lawn, Do not be afraid and do not rush to tear it out. Step gently into the middle of it and look around with wonder. You are standing inside one of the oldest, most patient living things in your garden. A quiet, living circle far older than any fairy tale. So the next time a ring of mushrooms appears in your grass, you'll know the truth hidden inside that circle. A single, ancient fungus quietly turning death into new life. Marvel at it, keep it away from curious hands and mouths, and let it be. If this changed the way you see your garden, subscribe to What the Garden Knows. Every single week, we learn to read one more secret hidden in plain sight. And if you love the wild lives that fill your yard, check out Backyard Wildlife Mind. It's where we explore all the creatures living just outside your window. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, your garden is always speaking.